Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, August 20th, 2020. I'm Keith Tebow. This week we hear from Diman Regional and Bishop Connolly on their plans to reopen this fall. City election officials get ready to accept voters in person for the state primary. And we get an update on how the library's curbside pickup program keeps patrons connected with their books. All this and more coming up. Both Diman Regional Vocational Technical High School and Bishop Connolly High School will be opening this fall with students taking class under a hybrid learning model. Diman teachers and staff will be returning on September 1st and making preparations for students to return on September 16th. Andrew Rebello, Assistant Superintendent and Principal, says Diman's hybrid model will work around their schedule of splitting students between classes in academics and vocational shops.
Because remote learning worked well for academics, academic week cycle for our students, they're going to work remotely from home. And then for vocational shops, we're going to bring them back in a hybrid manner. So our vocational week cycles are 2 weeks long. We're going to split each group right in half. They're going to do 1 week in person. And then that second week of vocational shop, they're going to work from home remotely, and they'll flip-flop. So we're hoping that the in-person part of their vocation really supplements and works concurrently while they're home working remotely from their vocational shops. Based on what the state shared with us, the Department of Education, and their guidelines with 6 feet social distancing, bus transportation, based again on our survey data, on our reopening task force, it worked best for us, and of course working with medical professionals, it worked best for us to bring back in a phased hybrid manner. And again, we're going to continue looking at that data on a daily basis, and based on the trajectory of this virus, we'll be able to shift in either direction and pivot when needed.
Mr. Rebello says the school has devised an intricate plan to ensure the school is safe for students and staff, meeting all state health guidelines.
But we did convene a reopening task force that met multiple times over the summer to devise some of exactly what you're saying. What does sanitation look like? What equipment and PPE do we need? So we purchased multiple signage to display all over the school. We purchased thousands of masks. Teachers and students will need to bring their own masks, but we'll certainly have some in case students show up without it, as well as hand sanitizer, developing hand washing and hand hygiene protocols, and being ready to go on day one for students coming in. So that's what the reopening task force did all summer, and it's showed and it's shown in the reopening plan with all of our whether it's the food and how students will get lunches, all the way to the bus transportation and how they'll sit on the bus. We really tried breaking it down for the student experience, the ones that are coming in, what that really looks like. I think that showed well in our plan.
Mr. Rebello says the school has been proactive in communicating the reopening plan with teachers, students, and parents, including how the school will handle the implementation of extracurricular activities.
What the MIAA says for sports, what they say for extracurricular in that guidance, because we pushed back to September 16th, sports won't start until September 16th, or any extracurricular activities. So we have a little more time for that. And then we'll break it down by extracurricular activity, art club or theater. How can we follow the guidelines set by the state to make sure, again, our guiding principle, the health and safety of every single member of this community, is going to guide us no matter what decision we make. So again, we'll be informed by the state regarding some of those extracurricular activities, but without a doubt, we'll be breaking it down by specific activity and making sure that the health and safety of every single student and staff member guides us.
Bishop Connolly will open to teachers and staff on August 31st, with students returning in a staggered manner in person beginning on September 2nd. Principal Kathleen St. Laurent says the school's hybrid plan will group students based on their grade level.
And we've divided our student body into 2 cohorts, our younger students, freshman, sophomore, and our older students, junior, senior. And we'll be doing a 1 week on, a 1 week off. So 1 week in person and 1 week remote learning. really wanted to make sure that we're following all of the safety regulations given to us by the Department of Public Health. And we felt it was best, at least to begin this way, so that we really could take that opportunity to reduce class size, to have people separated, everyone wearing masks, and really provide the attention that we know our students will need, because it's certainly an adjustment for everyone coming back.
Like Diman, Bishop Connolly is making the necessary facilities improvements to meet public safety protocols.
So what we've done is we've reduced our class sizes. We have put signage on desks to separate students in compliance with the Department of Public Health regulations. We are installing the touch-free hand sanitizers, the signage for one-way hallway, and also for distancing. We also have ordered and received months of supplies of PPE equipment so that everyone will be safe and protected. We've also done an enormous amount of planning with our faculty in terms of what the remote learning will look like, and also what our in-person time will look like. So we've changed our schedule. We've put in time for advisory so that all of our students in a small group will have an adult that they see every day and really want to focus on social and emotional wellness for our students. And also that the instruction time that we're giving our kids is really well spent. So it's a lot of planning, but of course we want to do this in the way that optimizes our experience here at school and also at home.
In the face of uncertainty, Ms. St. Laurent says the school has seen an increase in the level of interest from parents seeking an educational alternative to the public schools.
Yeah, we certainly have had an interest from families who are looking for that individualized experience and wanting to have their children in school. So yes, we have seen an uptick in that. And we're very happy to talk to any families who might be interested in our school. We certainly do have room for more students. Our admissions are rolling admissions. We're open for that. And yes, we have had more interest in that as well. So we're excited to welcome our students and families back and to open our doors to any family who really is looking for a really solid remote experience and hybrid model in-person experience as well.
The Fall River City Council and School Committee are meeting tonight to discuss the school department's fiscal 2021 budget. Mayor Paul Coogan tells us this meeting is important for both bodies to get in sync as to the priorities for local education.
We're not even going to have our vote on the school budget till Monday night. We called a special meeting for that. But it's good to give the citizens of Fall River an idea of where we stand in this truly extraordinary time with this pandemic budget. It's fluctuating all the time. Income versus expenses. It goes back and forth, and we're doing the best we can. And we're going to present something tonight. Hopefully we can answer some questions from the counselors, and hopefully the school committee can answer some questions from the counselors, and we'll put out what we have and go forward from there. But people have to understand that I had a conversation with John Mitchell from New Bedford the other day. He's a veteran mayor. I have tremendous amount of respect for him. And he told me, Paul, this is extremely trying right now, doing budgets in this climate. So I want the citizens of Fall River to know we're working very hard and we're going to do the best we can.
The council will begin holding hearings with department heads next week in advance to approving the spending plan by the end of the month. We'll have an update on next week's show. The Democratic National Convention concludes tonight with the acceptance speech from Joe Biden as the nominee of the party for president. Taunton State Senator Mark Pacheco was a delegate from Massachusetts, attending the convention unconventionally via remote meetings. He says there are some disadvantages of not meeting with colleagues in person, but work is still getting done.
We would have the opportunity to sit down and have dinner with people that you wouldn't be able to see all the time, from different states, different national leaders. And we have the opportunity to interact virtually, but not with the type of conversation we're having right now. And so that is, missing somewhat from, this convention. But we have had the opportunity. There are a number of different activities that are going on during the day. For example, today, as I get off with you, I'll be able to go on to several different options that I would have for caucuses that are taking place with delegates from throughout the country.
Senator Pacheco says in the face of the endless Zoom meetings, the state delegation is still actively meeting and strategizing.
We are meeting every morning. Those meetings run from 7 to 7:30 to 9 a.m., where we have special guests that come in and speak to the delegation. For example, this morning, we had former Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton speak to us about the importance of this election cycle. And she knows, as well as all the delegates know, that we can't take this for granted. Look what happened in her race in 2016, where she won the popular vote by nearly 3 million more votes than the present occupant of the White House. And yet she's not able to serve because it didn't meet the standard of the Electoral College.
The Republicans will be holding their national convention next week. We hope to speak with a local delegate from the GOP on next week's show. The city of Fall River is getting prepared to hold safe in-person voting for the September 1st state primary. Elections Commission Chairwoman Kelly Souza Young says early voting for the primary begins this weekend at Government Center with COVID-19 health protocols in place.
What we did is we lessened the number of people that are actually going to work early voting. So we had everybody. We have 9 wards in Fall River. So we had everybody at a ward. So the last election we had 9 people handing out ballots. Now we're going to do 5, and that's per style ballot. So each section of the city has their own style. So we did it by that way. This way we would have less people. We also have all our PPE equipment available. It'll still be 6 feet distance from everybody. When you come in, we'll have separate laptops. We have them separated as well. And I'm not going to come in yet, but we will have the plexiglass for the voter, for both the voter and the worker to feel comfortable.
Early voting this weekend takes place Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., then on Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and then Friday from 9 to 2 p.m. Ms. Susie Young says on Election Day, September 1st, all city precincts will be open.
We will have all 29 precincts. Everybody will be at their precincts. We do have some of our poll workers who understandably feel uncomfortable going because of COVID. So we are making arrangements for other poll workers to come in. We have a lot of standby to take their place. We still will have PPE for everybody at the poll places to keep our workers and the voters safe. We do have 2 of our smaller, the sub precincts, and we're going to accommodate where we have 3 sets of booths for every polling place, which lets 12 voters vote at a time. But because of COVID, those polling places might have less, which is really our smaller precincts anyway. I think one of them only has maybe 100 voters at that precinct. So it's kind of, we just have to adjust the amount of booths we have in there.
The city processed nearly 7,000 mail and absentee ballot applications for the election. That high number leads Ms. Susie Young to believe voter turnout should be high.
Right now, we did surpass, just in the early voting mail-in ballots, we did surpass 2 years prior, the September primary, and we didn't even have early voting before the 2016 primary, where we still didn't have early voting. We've only had it for the general election, so this is new to us as well. So did 11% in 2018, and it was only 4.6 or 4.7% for 2016, and we've already surpassed that just in the early voting by mail.
Residents who have yet to register for the primary may still do so through Saturday. The city has extended hours to register on Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. and then again from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The deadline to make a request for a mail or absentee ballot is September 26th. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Patient Access Intake Specialist, South Coast Physicians Group, located at 300 Hanover Street, is looking for a full-time patient access intake specialist to perform a wide variety of duties to facilitate patient access to physician practice services throughout the South Coast Physicians Group. Job number 138-87574. Pet Trainer, PetSmart, located at 540 William S. Canning Boulevard, is seeking a full-time pet trainer to teach classes to a variety of dog breeds, sizes, and ages, and show patience to pet parents when training their pet. Job number 138-73298. Director of Maintenance. The Fall River Housing Authority, located at 85 Morgan Street, has an immediate need for a full-time Director of Maintenance, responsible for coordinating, assigning, and supervising all routine maintenance, custodial activities, and emergencies that occur as directed by the Director of Facilities Management. Job number 138-83786. The Fall River Public School Department, located at 417 Rock Street, is in need of the following full and part-time positions. English Language Assessment Specialist, job number 138-86377. Paraprofessional, job number 138-86393. Advanced Auto Parts, located at 234 Tucker Street, also is in need of the following full and part-time positions. Driver, job number 138-84146. Inventory Specialist, job number 138-84206. For more information on these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The pandemic has put a lot of strain on state and local budgets with, in some instances, the need for employee layoffs. Denise Pumagwaye speaks with faculty at Bristol Community College who are part of a movement to bring to light how the state should make a concerted effort in increasing funding for higher education.
Tell me a little bit about yesterday's protest against layoff and cuts at Bristol Community College.
So yesterday was part of a coordinated event involving all 29 public colleges, so all the community colleges, the state university, and the UMass system. The idea was that if we could create all across the state energy and attention around the issues of higher ed funding again. A lot of what we're seeing and a lot of the issues that we're seeing gets directly tied back to a disinvestment in public higher education. Bristol Community College was chosen as a location for southeastern Massachusetts because we had experienced the first and the largest round of layoffs back in the spring, back in late April, and May 1st was the date that was the last day for a number of people. These are mostly part-time staff members, and all in all, there were 130 people laid off in Bristol. The problem is structural. The problem is not just what we're seeing at Bristol Community College. Bristol Community College is the consequence of decisions that have been made, over the last 40 years, even starting with the federal government. And so we want to energize people to, look at this and say, what can we, how can we push our federal leaders, right, to better fund education, this K through 12 and higher ed. How can we do so on the state? MassachusettsAgrees.org is a great site for people to learn more about what the campaign is and how at least the Massachusetts Teachers Association frames the issue. So what the Mass Teachers Association and other more progressive groups are saying that we need to look again at the taxes. We need to do similar to what the United States did in the 1930s in response to the Great Depression. We have to have a New Deal style program, a commitment to the social services, healthcare, education, safety. So we do have to make different choices, and we have to acknowledge that this is something that has to come all the way, down.
Bristol President Dr. Laura Douglas agrees that state investment needs to improve.
Historically, there's been a lack of funding for public higher education, especially at community colleges. And, during these very challenging times, we also share a very deep concern over the impact of COVID-19 to our institutions, to our faculty, staff, and most importantly, to our students. So if there is ever a moment for the state to reinvigorate support for community colleges, now is absolutely the time.
Last week, we spoke about how Bristol Community College is taking the lead in holding discussions on the systemic racism that's plaguing our country. This week, we have news on the topic of its next workshop, slated to be held next week.
The next one, which is race and women's rights, and that will be on August 27th. And that one is great because it's going to really work on the intersectionality of women empowerment, but also intersecting what race is and how does that really, how does that really mesh? And I'm going to have the director of the Women's Center really moderate this. I think what's great about what's happening in society is you're seeing these younger individuals who are protesting and doing things hopefully the right way. And then it turns into individuals like myself who are in more like senior leadership roles. How can I help influence from my spot?
And also at Bristol, we have the story of how one student has taken his DNA research and was asked to present it at a national student symposium.
I presented at the International Society of Computational Biology Student Council Symposium, and then also at the Intelligent Systems for Molecular Biology Conference. Your body makes antibodies, but for some people, especially if you're immunocompromised, you might not be able to make antibodies or you might not be able to make enough. So if you could give somebody an antibody that would effectively bind to the virus, you could, in theory, inhibit the virus. So that was, my research was trying to find human and mouse antibodies that could effectively bind to a part of the virus.
What motivated you to get into this field?
I mean, part of it's really interesting, but then also it's very obviously applicable. It's very obvious why it's important to have antibodies for a virus or why it's important to understand more about cervical cancer. So I did an internship at the biotechnology lab at BCC with Dr. Rubieri, and that was definitely helpful because she helped us a lot, but also we had to structure it ourselves.
What do you wish that you could continue accomplishing?
I would definitely like to continue doing research. I didn't think that anything I did would ever be presented at an international conference.
As the Commonwealth advances with its reopening, the Fall River Public Library has been innovative in the way it still serves the community. Even though the library is open on a limited basis by appointment, one option for patrons is to take advantage of the library's curbside pickup option.
We offer curbside pickup. It's a no-contact way for you to pick up books, movies, and any other library materials that you'd like. And we also offer book bundles, which is you kind of tell us a little bit about the kind of books you like to read, and we put together a group of books for you that we've chosen based on your tastes. So you can call the library, make an appointment to come pick them up, and you just can drive right up. You come to the door, you show us your library card, and we have packages, bags of books for you in a nice little library tote bag, and you can just take those home. Normally, as librarians, we do a lot of reader's advisory. People will say, well, what's a good book that I can read? And we'll sort of say, oh, what's the last good book you read? What kind of authors do you like? And by talking to them, we get an idea. And we also have some, online tools that we can use. There's something called Novelist that kind of does recommendations. So it's sort of like we're the human version of Amazon. If we know what you like, we'll recommend something that we think you would like. And, I think you should. It's a great service. It saves you time. We do all the browsing, and you just have to come pick the books up.
Thank you for considering a homeless pet today. I hope you enjoy what you're about to see, and as always, please feel free to contact the shelter before coming down to make sure that the pets you're viewing are still available for adoption. We can be reached at 508-677-9154.
Hi, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Chance. He's a year old. We're not really too sure of what breed he is. Still has a puppy brain. He would definitely benefit from for basic training. He does get along with other dogs. He would do better in a home with older children. I'd probably say 12 and older, only because of his size, and he's very much of a puppy. He loves to sniff around, likes to go for walks. He does think he's a lap dog. He doesn't really know too many commands. Because he is young, he will learn things. He can still learn. So if you want to come down and meet Chance, I know he'd love to meet you. We are located at 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts, at Forever Paws.
Today we have Prince. Prince here, as you can tell, loves his little cube here. He's relatively new to the shelter, so we're getting him nice and comfortable. In the meantime, this little cube cushion that he's got here is kind of helping with his confidence a little bit. You can tell he's a very nice boy, though. He lets you go right in, pet him, and all that. He is an older gentleman. I wouldn't say old. He's about 9.5. Ideally, he would be in a calmer home, just to help with what he's used to and his age, and I would say it would probably be best if he wasn't in a home with dogs, only because he's a little older, and introducing him to dogs at this point in his life will probably just he just won't feel comfortable with it. So if you'd like to meet Prince, you can come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts at Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. One programming note, please join us tomorrow, Friday at 5:30 p.m. as we will air the 2020 Bristol Community College virtual commencement exercises. Again, that's tomorrow, Friday at 5:30 p.m. We invite you to check out our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest news and information, as well as other programs of interest on Channel 95. This program airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next Thursday.